Now, Alex, you've been travelling to speak out, and the subject about UN Agenda 21, the Great Reset, but also for you, the absence of God.
Yes, Brian. This was hosted by Iurie Roshka, the former Deputy Prime Minister of Moldova. He could easily have been president if he was a less scrupulous man. The peak of his influence was 2009. Since then, he says he's become a more convinced Orthodox Christian, and he hosted here in his own Moldova, in the countryside, this Chișinău Forum, an annual event, although it was disrupted by COVID a couple of years. This year's theme was UN Agenda 21 and the Great Reset. I'll just zip through these a few seconds at a time. This was a mixed event, so as well as people in the hall, there from left to right, you've got Youri Roshka, Peter Töpfer of Germany, and Professor Garry Robson, who I'll be speaking with in Krakow shortly as well at the Jagiellonian University, a Brit in exile in academia. As well as these men in the hall, you had contributors online as well. The subtitle of the event was The Fall from Liberalism to Technocracy and Transhumanism, and it was a broad palette event. You had atheists there, you had very committed Christians. My talk was on the forgetting of God. That will be up in due course. All the stuff will be in the show notes to find out where these talks will be uploaded to. Magnificently catered for by an army of babushkas. Multilingual material on globalism, technocracy, and transhumanism. Perfect harmony between those who see hope in Putin and those who are more of Ian Davis's perspective, and Ian was one of the speakers. You can see me at the back right there. These were just the in-person speakers posing for the camera crew, very professional. Was the camera crew. The catering was from Iurie's own survivalist farm, shall we call it, so fantastic melons, grapes, figs, etc. He has a polytunnel and a farm and a menagerie all in his back garden. He practices what he preaches. This I just took a few seconds of just to show that horses and carts, and no disrespect meant to Moldova here, it's so peaceful. Just outside this conference room where we're talking about globalism and technocracy and post-humanism, we see this happy peasant who doesn't want anything more than his horse and cart, without any disrespect to the man, really. I got an overwhelming sense of peace from the environment. There's downtown Chișinău, 500,000 people, a capital city with no noise, no litter, no problems as far as I can see in the modern European sense. And here are the speakers, if you want to freeze the screen. A good number of French and French-speaking people, and also from Latin America. They tended to be in the more pro-Putin camp, keen on BRICS and multilateralism, but there was a palette of views here for everyone. You'll see Sir Julian Rose spoke just before Professor Robson as well. Jacob Nordangård from Sweden has already had his talk put up. All the links will be in the show notes to find out where they are, and they will be translated as well. So most of the speeches were delivered in English. They'll be available multilingually. I am sure, Brian, that I will be back to interview Youri Roshka and some of his associates. And finally, this is a science class, and the lecturer says the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. And this generation doesn't like that, so they yell back, fake numbers, not a fact, only a theorem. You're a shill for big trig. Pythagoras recanted on his deathbed. I'm entitled to my own opinion. You trust mainstream mathematics? Don't tell me what to think. That's what they want us to believe. How much does geometry pay you to say that? Illuminati symbolism and further proof that ancient aliens created the triangles. I hope our viewers won't mind the brief dig at some of the wackier parts of the alternative media scene, and we sometimes take it on the chin because we don't cover people's pet theories, but I think a bit of self-effacing humour is in order in some of these situations. And a second and finally from me is this wonderful meme. Somebody who's in tune with the system narrative says, you sound like a conspiracy theorist, and he gets the repartee, you sound like a corruption denier, at which the right-on guy explodes with rage because he doesn't know what to say.
Brilliant. Okay, Alex, thank you very much for that. And wonderful to see people from different parts of the world coming together to talk about what's happening and to be brave enough to mention God. More on that in coming UK Column Newses. We must end there. Thank you all very much for joining us wherever you are in the world. And if you're a subscriber, stay with us. UK Column Extra will be in a few minutes' time, but we will see you then. Thank you. Bye-bye.